for yourselves, when you're starting a script, and this is kind of a general writing question, but when you're starting a script, do you generally start from a character that you want to write about or a situation, and then turning it into, when you want to turn it into a comedy, how do you develop that into a funny situation or a funny movie?
Well, both of the movies that I've had made, you know, Wedding Crashers and We're the Millers, really started with a comic premise. So that would be my answer on that one. And you know, the truth of the matter is, if you're going to, for the most part, the kinds of movies that Hollywood buys, are, you know, in comedy in particular, are going to be based on a funny idea. If the idea isn't funny in and of itself, it probably doesn't. There are a few exceptions, and some of those exceptions are the best movies made. But for the most part, yeah, it's hard for me to imagine just saying, oh, I'm just going to kind of noodle on this guy. Unless it's sort of a comic character, I could imagine starting noodling on a comic character or something. But yeah, anything that we've done, I think, has had a premise. Me and my old partner and myself and various other partners.
Anyone else?
I think it just depends. As Bob said, you know, most movies nowadays are concept-driven, but sometimes they'll just read in the paper about, well, you know, the guy who was like the paint expert, you know, at the hardware store, and now everything is computerized. Well, that's kind of an interesting character. I don't know if he's going to be involved in international intrigue, but you know, it depends on where the ideas come from. It just kind of just happens sometimes, whether it's a premise or a character, and you just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like with that We're the Millers thing, it was just me and my old partner were driving down to Mexico, and you know, we were literally at the border, and there's a dude, you know, with long hair and a VW bus, and he's getting pulled over, and you're like, what did you think was going to happen, dude? You know, so and like, so well, how would you do it? And that was sort of like, you know, so by the time we got back, we had the idea for it. So then off of that, then you got to build a movie, but at least we knew we had something we could probably build something off of that.
For me, whether you start with the premise or character, eventually you have to develop it through character, because if you don't develop the story through character, you end up with jokes. And jokes are rough because they're execution dependent. If you have a great series of jokes, an unending great series of jokes, you can have a great movie like Airplane. But the minute that you start missing every other joke, you have Scary Movie 4. And if you don't have those comic characters to hook onto, you're gonna just end up with jokes which are, you know, subjective. Some people laugh at stuff, some people don't. I liked Mystery Men, but that's, you know, it's subjective.
And I wrote Scary Movie 4.
Which I loved.